Right, hi everybody, it's Richard from the Homeschool Freedom Club. I have another one in my series of interviews today on how I earn and home educate slash world school. And I'm really delighted to welcome Elle Zahlow today here to have a chat with us. Hi Elle, how are you doing?
Hello, great, thanks.
So just tell us a little bit about yourself because you've got an interesting story. You know, you've moved from Australia to maybe not the most obvious country in the world. So
Mhm.
just give us a little bit of background. Tell us about yourself. Obviously, you're a home educating parent as well. So just tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, sure. So we are Australian. My kids and I grew up in the south of Australia, and then we actually moved across the country and moved in the on the northeast coast. Beautiful part of the world. If you're familiar with the Great Barrier Reef, that kind of part of the world, very very nice. And we felt like we'd lived there forever. However, life throws you curveballs. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, some of them are opportunistic. And we've actually ended up living on the other side of the world just recently, moving to Georgia in Eastern Europe. So a little bit out of the box, not your typical, I guess, trajectory for most people, not your typical place to move, especially for an Australian. But certainly for me, I have always liked to take the path less traveled, push the boundaries, do things outside of the norm, and experience the most out of life. So here we are in Georgia.
So how many kids have you got, Al?
Two girls, they're 5 and 11.
Uh-huh. And you're doing this on your own as well, aren't you?
Yep, single mum. So single mum for the majority of both of their lives. So doing it on my own, and it has silver linings, of course, but it's definitely challenging.
Yeah, I mean it's challenging as a couple, so I can't even imagine what it's like as a as a single mum. We've got a 9 and a 6 year old, so it definitely keeps you on your toes and keeps you busy day to day.
Absolutely.
So what were you doing in Australia then? Like,
Predominantly working on my, sorry.
so to sort of make an income, and how were you kind of juggling that whilst you're in Australia?
Yeah, I guess when I first became a mum, I had a corporate job. I was managing a large fitness first. It's like a global company, so a large corporate gym, and I loved it. And there was a great, career path there for me. But when I became a single mum at 24, I realized very quickly I could no longer go and work my 60, 70 hours a week in a corporate role with this tiny baby that I was solely responsible for. So I was looking at options to make money online. I knew that I had to find a way to make money from home. For me, I value motherhood and I value being at home with my kids a lot. And I just didn't feel like putting them in care at such a young age and having somebody else enjoy all the magic moments. It just wasn't a path that I was going to choose. So I was willing to do whatever I needed to do to be able to stay at
Yeah.
home with them. And I was, I guess, very lucky in a way. I kind of fell into network marketing in the early days. I had no idea what it was. Somebody shared some weight loss shakes with me. I used them and I lost weight. And then my friends asked how, and I sold a few shakes and I made a few $100s. And I thought that was life changing. I was scrambling for every spare dollar that I had at
Yeah.
that point in my life. And those, two, three, $400 paychecks coming in were life changing. And I really immersed myself into that business and actually managed to grow that into $1 million company within a year. So
Wow.
it completely changed my life. And I see network marketing really as my entrepreneurship, or my apprenticeship, I guess is probably the word, into business, into learning things like sales and communication and networking and all of these things.
What would you? Because I mean, network marketing, it has something of a bad reputation, or rather, people I think conflate network marketing and pyramid schemes a lot. I find, what because and a lot of people have resistance to doing it. But for me, I mean, it's something that I do, and it's something that it gives you that flexibility. You can fit it in around your day, you can fit it in around your kids, and and there's so many great companies out there. I mean, if you think about it, like Avon Cosmetics. I mean, I don't even know if they're still around, but I mean, they were one of the big ones. My mum was an Avon lady, and that was
Mm-hmm.
basically network marketing before the internet. I mean, she was doing that in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, what would you say to people that are sort of a bit wary of network marketing?
Look, if you have a lot of resistance to it, then the reality is it's probably not for you. You know, if you're
Yeah,
open to it and you're, curious and you want to give it a go, then I say find a great mentor and go all in and actually treat it like a job. You know, if you treat it like a hobby, you're going to make hobby income. But if you treat it like an actual career, like a job where you have tasks that you must complete and
yeah,
invest the time, money, and energy into it, it can be completely life changing. And it's stood the test of time. Like you said, your mum did it, your grandma probably dabbled in it too. Mine's the
yeah,
same. And it really is something that's super flexible. There is a lot of criticism towards anything that's outside of the norm. So it's not just network marketing,
yeah,
but anything that you do that is not what everybody typically does, you'll meet some resistance, and you just have to learn to get comfortable with that. For me, I've made many choices that are considered to be controversial, and taking my children out of the schooling system would absolutely be one of them. Choosing to raise them naturally, in chemical free and pharmaceutical free, another really controversial,
yeah.
probably the most controversial decision that I've
Yeah.
made and caused a lot of heat. So compared to those things, doing a bit of network marketing in my 20s is nothing.
Yeah.
It kind of prepared me for what was to come as I made other decisions outside of the norm.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so, what made you choose to leave Australia, and what made you pick Georgia? Because, like we were saying, it's not the most obvious choice,
Mm-hmm.
especially for someone coming from the opposite side of the world. I mean, for me, it's kind of in my sphere because my wife's Russian. Obviously, it was part of the former Soviet Union, and so people there speak Russian.
Mm-hmm.
But what made you pick Georgia, and why did you leave Australia?
Um, to answer the why did I leave Australia part, I feel super blessed to be born and raised in Australia. To be an Australian, we're very lucky in the sense that wherever we can travel anywhere. First of all, like I never knew that a lot of people actually can't travel to many countries.
Yeah,
We can go anywhere we like, and we're very well received wherever we go. People are, very welcoming of Australians. I'm very, very grateful for that. And it's an amazing country. It's an amazing place to be born, and an amazing place to visit. But it's not, you know, there's always perspective, right? And
yeah,
so many people from other countries are desperate to get into Australia, and I can really appreciate that. But as an Australian, it's extremely expensive to live there, and there is so much regulation and red tape around everything,
yeah,
especially when it comes to doing business. It's just not an easy place to really get ahead anymore. My minimum living expenses, I really couldn't get under 10,000 Australian dollars a month, which I
yeah,
feel is really excessive. 10, 20 years ago, we were like, let's try to make $100,000 a year income. And now that's sort of the bare minimum that you need to survive. I was paying, I think, my last rent was $870 a week for a small apartment. It's just ridiculous.
wow,
So I got
yeah,
to a point where I was like, I can work my butt off, but I'm not actually ever really going to get ahead. And I was looking at other options. Why Georgia? With a business mentor of mine, I actually traveled to five countries, five countries in 7 days.
uh-huh,
Back 5 years ago now, so I think it was 2018, 2019. And one of those countries was Georgia, which I had never heard of. I did not even know that Georgia was a country in Europe. I thought it was just a state in America,
yeah,
and I think most people think that. We went to like Azerbaijan. We went to just unique countries and places, and it was very eye-opening for me. I realized that it's not scary. Like a lot of people were concerned about this trip that I was going on and telling me to be safe, and that it's
yeah,
so dangerous in Eastern Europe. And when I got here, everyone was just so lovely. There were kids playing in the street. It has a very nostalgic feel. I grew up in a half Italian family, so I had that
yeah,
European culture, and it felt like going back to my childhood. And um, one of the things that I've loved since moving here really is that all the kids in the neighborhood playing together on the
yeah.
weekends, and it's really safe. It feels actually Georgia's one of the top 10 safest countries in the world. So yeah, the reason specifically that I moved here, so that's kind of a little bit about why I love it, but the reason I moved here was for business. So when we were here 5 years ago, we invested in property. Could not believe how cheap you could buy a luxury apartment overlooking the ocean for around 30,000 US dollars. And that was just absolutely mind blowing to us.
Uh-huh.
And so we bought some properties, and then a whole bunch of our friends bought properties because we did, and they were like, this is amazing. And we ended up getting into the market of selling investment properties here in Georgia,
Right.
mostly to Australians, also to like Americans and some other Europeans. And that's just grown into a really successful property business where we have over 100 properties under management here, and we Airbnb them, get really high returns. It's very easy to do business here. There's no like red tape, there's no capital gains tax.
Yeah.
There's no tax on foreign income as well for all the online earners. Like for me, I've always earned all my money, usually in US dollars, living in Australia, which is
Yeah.
great. It's even better over here in Eastern Europe, and there's no tax at all on any foreign income. So when Georgia sort of left the USSR, the government went through a bit of a transition phase where they fired like the whole police force. They, got all of the
Right.
corruption out of the country. This was like 20 something years
Yeah.
ago. They rebuilt all of their government buildings in glass to show complete transparency, which is
Right.
really cool.
Wow.
And just made it extremely easy for foreigners to come here, live here, and do business here. So you can get a 365-day tourist visa.
Yeah.
And all the tax advantages. It's becoming still a bit of a secret, but it's becoming a bit of a place to be for digital nomads and entrepreneurs, because there's just so many advantages.
Yeah. That's amazing. So, and how are your daughters getting on there? How are they sort of integrating? Is sort of English widely spoken, or do they
Yeah.
have to learn Georgian or Russian, or?
They don't speak Georgian or Russian. They only speak English for now. So I am here with my 5-year-old, and the culture shock definitely rattled her for that first week. I
Yeah.
didn't expect it because my kids are very used to moving and they're very resilient in that sense. But
Yeah.
the culture shock definitely got her. She was like very overwhelmed by everything being so different. So it took her a while, but we've only been living here for like less than 2 weeks. I think 2 weeks today. 2 weeks today.
Yeah.
And she's definitely getting, learning to love it. We've made friends already, and some Australian friends, which is cool. And
Yeah.
my 11-year-old's actually still in Australia. She's going to stay with family
Okay.
until probably Christmas. So she'll be joining us soon. And then I get to see sort of how she adjusts to it all, and just treating it for them like a bit of an adventure, more like a holiday, and we'll see how it goes. And there's so much to see and do, and everything is so affordable that every day we're going out and having so much fun. And there's no reason why we can't keep up that level of lifestyle here, where we're going to amusement parks and out for dinner with friends, and they can buy all the toys that they want, because it's really like, it really blows my mind every single time they ask for something and I check the price and I'm like, yeah, no worries, like it's fine. I get to be a yes mom and give them like, all the fun things, and that is it's fun for me. I enjoy doing that.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. I mean, it sounds like a wonderful place. It's somewhere that's definitely high on my travel list. I've said to you before, got familiar with sort of the food and the wines when I was in Moscow, and very much like both. So I think I would probably put on weight if I was there. But
I've been eating like a queen. We eat like a lot of big like feast style meals where we go out with a group of friends and we order like everything on the menu to try. But the food is very, very clean and fresh here, and I've actually lost like 4 kilos in the last month.
Wow!
Even though I'm eating like that, so it's been very surprising for me. We do a lot of walking here. It's a very easy city to walk around, so that might contribute. But definitely with the amount of like good, delicious food that I've been indulging in, I am very surprised that I've been able to actually lose weight somehow.
Is it fairly easy to sort of buy organic out there then?
I haven't specifically looked for the organic markets just yet. I know they're there. We used to eat all organic in Australia, so it's definitely something that I need to do. Hello, Willow. Do you want to say hello?
Oh, hi.
This
Hello.
is Willow.
Hey, Willow.
She's got a little...
I just got her to sleep.
Oh, sorry. She's got a little baby kitten here.
Oh, you rescued them, didn't you?
You rescued some kittens
I
here,
just
yes.
got her to sleep.
Okay, just get out of the room while I do this and I'll be done in here. Hey, Mummy. Food, what was I talking about? Organic food. So you'll find that most of it is like just local produce from the farmer down the road.
Yeah.
So it's not heavily sprayed anyway. It's actually some of the best soil in the world here in Georgia as far as like the minerals in the soil.
Yeah.
So you can really taste it.
Right.
Like just a fresh tomato. I realize now that tomatoes in Australia, they taste like water. I didn't know that. But now in comparison, I'm like, oh my God, like just a fresh salad with tomato and cucumber. Not only was it grown by the guy down the road, which is amazing, and I just literally saw him drive his car in and unload his produce to this restaurant. It's incredibly cheap and really, really, really delicious.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds absolutely awesome.
Just take it out there for a minute. Thank you. I went wrong.
Well, that's a noisy kitten.
Yeah, she's only 3 weeks old.
Oh, bless her. Oh, wow, that's tiny.
Tiny, tiny.
So, what's next for you? Just going to sort of give it a go for a while and see how it goes?
I'm committing to a year. So, I have the vision to stay here long term I'm starting my own company. I've already started my own company, but, growing that, really setting myself up here, buying some land. I'm looking to build on that. I'm laying some solid foundations, but I'm always open to anything. So we'll see where the wind blows.
That's fantastic. Well, listen, thanks ever so much for your time today, Elle. It's been really fascinating talking to you. And so Georgia's high up it's even higher up my travel list now. So hopefully we'll get out there at some point and see you. But thank you so much for coming and talking to us and telling us about all this.
Yeah, my pleasure. I look forward to meeting you, and I can't wait to show you around.
Fabulous. Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.